So you decided to finally make the switch over to PC gaming, or you're thinking about making the switch over to PC gaming. You're hearing how cool it is, how powerful it is, how many more frames you can get over there on PC gaming, and you're very curious about it. We're talking about 5 things that you really need to know before you switch over to PC gaming. Now, this isn't everything you need to know because, well, that video would take a very long time to make. So if this video does well, maybe we'll do a part 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So be sure to hit that like button if you like it, all right? Okay, so first off, if you decide to get into PC gaming, the first thing you have to really understand is that game stores are no more. I don't mean Gamestop is gonna magically go out of business simply because you decided to buy a PC, although I know a lot of us might wish that would happen. No, what I'm talking about is that all of your games on PC will be purchased digitally. Instead of going to GameStop or some local mom and pop video game store to buy a physical copy of a game, you're simply gonna go to Steam or Epic or some other launcher on PC and buy that game digitally. Now, for a lot of you, this will not be a big deal because even console players are starting to buy more and more games digitally. But I do know that there are a lot of gamers out there who love to physically have games in their hand. They love the physical aspect of it. I'm speaking from experience. I used to be one of those gamers. So if that's you, just be aware if you decide to get into PC gaming, physical copies of games are no more, and therefore there's no reason to go to game stores. Well, except to look around and just hang out. Sometimes I do it too. Okay, so the second thing you need to know before getting into PC gaming is you have to decide if you're going to build your own PC or if you're gonna buy a pre-built PC. Now, I did a full video on this exact topic explaining all the pros and cons of both and which one may be right for you. And there is no right or wrong answer. You may wanna check out that video for more details on it, but essentially, you can buy a pre-built PC today, probably for cheaper than you can build your own. But if you build your own PC, you're gonna have a lot more fun and you're gonna learn a lot more. And it's very important to learn how all the components inside of your PC work for troubleshooting purposes. So be sure to start doing research on if you're gonna buy a PC or if you're gonna build a PC. Personally, I recommend building, but that's just me. Okay, so for number 3 on our list, you need to know that PC gaming is more complicated than console gaming. Consoles are amazing because you go to a store, you pick one up, you unbox it, you plug in the power cord and HDMI cable, and you're up and you're running, and that is it. Whereas with a PC, even if you buy a pre-built PC, you're going to have plenty of updates that you need to install. And no, your Windows updates are not going to cover all of the updates you need for your system. Your graphics card has a dedicated driver update that it will need on its own, and you will have to install a dedicated piece of software just to manage the driver updates for your graphics card. I'm not trying to scare you. I know this is sounding complicated, but bear with me. But you do need to be aware that PC gaming is not as simple as console gaming. Personally, I do think the extra complexity is worth it. And once you learn it, it's not a big deal at all. But it is something that you need to be aware of before diving into PC gaming. Tip number 4 is the good old mouse and keyboard versus controller debate. A lot of console gamers don't want to switch over to PC gaming because they have been using a controller all of their life, and they don't want to go through the hassle of learning how to use a mouse and keyboard. Well, I have great news for you because the majority of games on PC now have native controller support. And even the games that don't have native controller support can still be used with a controller by using some type of third-party software where you can button map different controls to your controller. Now, let me just clarify before all my PC friends out there get a little too upset with me. I will agree that mouse and keyboard is superior, at least in most situations. And I will agree that you should take the time to learn how to use mouse and keyboard. And I will say that mouse and keyboard was not as complicated to learn as I once thought it was. No matter how you manipulate your controller, there are simply some games out there that are not designed to be used with a controller. An example would be World of Warcraft. This game has been going strong for many, many years. It's very popular, and if you're looking to get into it coming over to PC, you're not gonna use a controller to play that game. You're gonna have to learn to use mouse and keyboard. Even if I'm wrong about using a controller with World of Warcraft, the fact remains that there are still some games out there that are simply meant to be used with a mouse and keyboard. But the moral of the story is that don't let mouse and keyboard scare you away from coming over to PC gaming if you're genuinely interested in coming over to the platform. Okay, so the last thing you need to know about PC gaming is that it's not perfect. In fact, one of the biggest flaws about PC gaming is that there are too many launchers. Now you may be saying, I'm coming from PlayStation, I'm coming from Xbox. What in the world is a launcher? A launcher is an application that has to be launched in order to play a video game. So for example, on Xbox or PlayStation, you have a one-stop shop library that has all of your games in it. You select the game you want to play and you just start gaming and you put no more thought into it. However, on PC, you may have one game on Steam and one game on Epic and then another game on Xbox Game Pass. Now, you have to open each one of those applications each time you want to play those different games. Now, in my previous video, the top 5 apps that every PC gamer needs on their PC, I mentioned an application called GOG Galaxy. GOG Galaxy is an application that attempts to give you the exact same experience of a one-stop shop library where all of your games are consolidated together. And it's an awesome application. Even with that application, when you play a game, the original launcher for that game is still launching in the background and still using resources in the background when you're playing that game. And so honestly, this is a pretty big downfall of PC gaming, and a lot of PC gamers absolutely cannot stand this. And if you've been gaming on a PC for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, to newcomers, myself included, when I first came to PC gaming, you may not think it's that big of a deal, but once you're on the platform for a while and you have to keep downloading all these different launchers just to play a specific game, it really starts to become extremely annoying. You'll get used to it. It kind of is what it is, but it is something you need to be aware of before you hop over to PC gaming. Well, I hope that you learned something from this video, and I hope that I didn't scare you away from coming on over to PC gaming. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I try to respond to every comment, and I'm more than happy to help you understand anything else that I forgot to mention in this video about PC gaming. If you liked the video, please hit the like. It goes a long way in helping me out, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments below. And until next time, E-Rock out.